Hello everybody, this is Marty Atkinson. I am the moderator for today's seminar, and it gives me great pleasure to be the moderator for Take Your Online Teaching to New Heights with the Online Teaching Certification Program with Anna Sterling and Micah Orloff. So without my chattering anymore, Anna and Micah, it's all yours.
Thank you, Marty. Thanks for getting us started here. Again, my name is Anna Sterling, and I am the Certification Coordinator for the Online Teaching Certification Program. A little bit of history about myself. I teach at Mount San Jacinto College in the Computer Science and Computer Applications Department, and I've been teaching online for about 6 years. So I was very excited to become part of the @ONE program a few years ago and have slowly moved through different positions with @ONE, being a facilitator and now coordinating this program.
And I'm Micah Orloff. I'm the interim co-director of the @ONE project. I'm here to support Anna as well, who's doing a wonderful job with the certification program. I've been with @ONE for 5 years now. I've had the great honor of working with Marty, who's our moderator today, for those years, and just happy to be able to hear her voice again on the call. But been involved with @ONE for those last 5 years, doing different training events, coordinating their hands-on institutes, and just recently pulled into the role of the co-director to continue to bring hopefully new opportunities, training opportunities, events, and services to you guys in the coming years. So just thanks for having us, and I'm going to give it back to Anna so we can get started.
So the first thing I want to do is actually just welcome everybody to the presentation today and tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing. So today we're going to give you an overview of the program, and then we're going to explain how the program actually works, the learning path that you'll take during the program. And then throughout and at the end, we're going to identify important tools and resources that will help you along the journey if you actually plan to become part of the certification program. So we're going to start off here with a little interactive quiz. In 1 second, you'll see these letters pop up right underneath where you saw the check mark on the X before. So you can go ahead and just right now tell us if you are currently teaching online, choose A. If you're planning to teach online in the next 1 or 2 semesters, choose B. And if you're thinking about teaching online maybe in 3 or more, or you're not quite sure yet, go ahead and choose C.
This is Tracy Kinney. I'm on the phone, so how would I choose?
You can tell us.
Okay, I plan on teaching online.
Well, basically we're just trying to capture some stats on that, so we appreciate you sharing that. So there'll be a couple more polls. You can simply come on and just tell us quickly and then mute back, and we'll appreciate your input. Thanks.
That sounds great. Thank you.
All right. So it looks like we have a couple people who are already teaching online, a couple that look like they're going to be teaching pretty soon, and then at the bottom there, looks like a lot of you guys are maybe going to teach in 3 or more semesters, and that's great for you guys. For all of you actually, but especially for the ones who are planning on teaching in a couple semesters. If you get in the program soon, you could actually have your teaching certification completed by the time you're ready to teach online. So I'm going to actually hand it over to Micah real quick, and he's going to give you some history about the program.
All right, thanks, Anna. So some of you, I saw in the chat window, a few of you are kind of like you take a couple classes here and there, and you're in the program, but we will share the information for those of you that have a little information about the certification program. The history basically is that @ONE has been providing different curriculum for supporting effective online teaching for years now. And we've always had an interest. I remember having conversations with our moderator, Marty, about coordinating basically some kind of focused pathway or certification towards delivering effective online courses. And so we had been in talks for a while as a team trying to establish something. And because we realized that there's a lot of faculty out there that are being tasked with delivering online courses, some of them coerced really into delivering online courses. And what we want to do is be able to support those faculty, those individual faculty around the system. Some of you are faculty that are what I call highway flyers, those that have to travel between different colleges and campuses. and one way that you might be able to be more marketable is with some more experience teaching and delivering effectively online. So we decided the goal was to create a program that leveraged those existing courses that we had and try to package it into that certification program for those faculty. We also offer a custom option for our colleges to adapt as well. The important thing, though, however, was what would make our program any better than any other program offered out there. And we realized that it depended on the research in the community about online teaching and learning. And so what we did was we started to do our research and try to find out what the research community was saying about online teaching and learning and what makes for effective practice in that area. And we came across many different standards, a few of them being nationally recognized standards and sometimes internationally recognized standards. And so we decided that what was important was to take that packaged curriculum and try to identify and align it to those national standards. And if it was missing a certain standard, we'd be sure to update our courses, revise our courses to meet those standards. That was the real goal there. The other option, or the other important thing for creating the certification program was to make sure that we were committed to providing this service at a low cost. Because if it was something that was going to really, in this budgetary climate, push it beyond the possibility of these individual faculty participating, then what's the point? So we wanted to make sure that we committed to that low cost and still provided a high quality service, which @ONE's been known to do over the years anyhow. So the certification program, again, opened in July 2010. That was the first time we started the enrollment process. But as of May 2012, we have over 400 candidates enrolled in the certification program. And it's just an exciting time for us because, going through all of the development, sitting there with Marty and the team and trying to figure out what we were going to make of this program and what it would become, we are ecstatic to know that there's 400 candidates enrolled in that program. And they're representing over 100 different colleges, universities, and institutions across the globe, but obviously a lot focused in the California Community College system. But happy to say that we have people from State University of New York involved, some from Florida schools, in Missouri. We have some K-12s involved in Missouri. So we're really excited about the distribution and the different involvement at the different segments of learning. We've had what's called 3 practicums completed. That's basically the culminating experience in the program. I would really call it 2.5 because the first one was really we had a small group that went through the program, about 5 or 6 that went through the program. And so with that one and the last 2 that had a full set of students in it, we have now over 40 graduates that completed the program from taking all of the required courses and developing out the practicum development, which is a new portfolio. And we're excited about that and recognizing them at our upcoming online teaching conference, which we'll speak about a little bit later. How this program is supported, just so you know, we have Anna, again, who's on the call with us here, the certification coordinator. Anna's there really to provide the different information, the resources, host, the different trainings like this, orient the mentors that are involved, and just provide that type of information and support the practicum structure at the end as well. And of course, we have other @ONE staff like Heather and Marty and myself that will help with the different questions that are involved, registration, doing these webinars, and whatnot. So that's how the certification program is structured. And lastly, again, to reemphasize the program goal, the important thing was, again, what's so great about our program that lets you as an individual faculty member participating, that program is going to be one that really does produce the outcomes that we're looking for and that you're looking for, and which is, in the end, quality effect. So again, the program goal is for you to be able to demonstrate proficiencies, the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are identified in the INACOL, which is the group, National Standards for Quality Online Teaching. INACOL is known as, or it's the North American Council on Online Learning, but truthfully, it's an international group, association now for online learning, nonprofit group. And there's a link there for you if you want to learn more about their group. Together, INACOL with the Southeastern Regional Education Board put together these standards based on research in the community. That's the truth. Is we believe that the curriculum that we created and aligned will provide you the necessary content and information, knowledge, and then you're going to show through your product deliverables and the portfolio the skills and abilities to show that you have competency and proficiency in those standards. You can find those standards online, both at the @ONE website on the certification page as well as directly from the INACOL website, so you can take a look. We're currently using the version 1 of the INACOL standards. Version 2 did come out a little late last year, and we are currently working to make sure that our courses are up to date with those standards. So we do use version 1 currently. Again, you know, it's about quality development, but there's a process involved with that. They're using research in the field to create those standards, and getting a lot of crosstalk. I apologize for that. I'm not sure where we're catching that, but we're able to cut it off if it happens. And again, there's 13 standards in that INACOL group of standards. So we'll be talking a little bit more about those as well. And the link, Marty was nice enough to share that with you if you want to take a look. Now I'm going to hand it back over to Anna now, who's going to tell you how to enroll.
All right, well, thank you, Micah. Again, great information for you guys about where the program came from and a little bit more about the standards that we're using. And I will talk a little bit more about those standards when I talk to you guys about the courses and the teaching practicum that you'll be doing at the end of that. But if this program sounds like something you'd be interested in and you're already thinking, I'm going to do this, it sounds great, you can go to our website at onefortraining.org/certification, and in the upper right-hand corner you can click on the Enroll Now icon, and that will take you to a simple online enrollment area. And the great part about this is that enrolling in the program is completely free. So you don't actually have to pay anything to enroll in the program. Of course, when you start taking your courses, you'll be paying for those, but just becoming part of the program doesn't require any payment. Another benefit to this is once you are part of the program, you will receive priority registration for all of the certification courses. All right, so what we're going to do now is find out a little bit more about who you are and what you're up to. So if you can go ahead and use those polling options again on the side there, and let us know what your primary role at your institution is. And we'll give you a couple of seconds to do that.
And so those options are A, faculty, B, staff, C, administrator, and D, or like a D coordinator or other kind of governing role in D coordination. And we'll go ahead and share that with the group here.
All right, so it looks at primarily on this participating today we have faculty, but we have quite a few staff members and some other people, DE coordinators or other governors at their institution. Doesn't look like we have any administrators joining us today, so that's okay. So the reason we ask you is because we want to kind of see what the distribution is. When we look at who's registered in our, or who's enrolled in our program right now, you'll see that about 77% are faculty members, which, you know, is pretty much in line with what we saw today here. Again, majority of the people participating are faculty members. But you can see that we do have a good amount of staff, 12%. We have, and then another 11% would be administrators, and then DE coordinators or other people. We, again, have some people who are not affiliated with an actual educational institution but are interested in potentially becoming online teachers, so they're kind of in that other group. And we think it's important to know who our audience is. Again, the program is primarily directed at the community college level and at online faculty or people who are interested in teaching online. But we want to make sure that we're covering or providing information for everybody who's part of the program.
And I should also emphasize that when we were talking about the INACOL group, they are a primarily focused K-12 group, but I assure you that when we did our research standards, that much of the standards all of the standards come from the research community, which ends up a lot of the different criteria that comes up from that research community is also important and significant to the higher ed segments. And so when we looked at the different standards, even with the INACOL, there was other ones out there that were focused on higher education, and a lot of it was very similar. So we felt, since we're a group that primarily supports California community colleges, but also supports all the the different segments, we wanted to make sure that we were getting a more general and broad opportunity for those different members.
See, the other thing we wanted to find out when we asked our candidates why they were participating in the program, we asked them very specifically, what's your reasoning for this? And we came up with a couple different things, and we found that there were some both intrinsic and extrinsic values or reasons that they were doing this. So we heard a lot that people really wanted to learn how to teach online. That was their primary goal. They didn't know exactly what they needed to do, and so they felt that going through a certification program would give them that opportunity. And then also to improve their online teaching skills. Again, we have a lot of participants who are already teaching online, but they want to be able to be the best that they can be. And then also to identify strategies using online teaching to actually enhance their face-to-face and hybrid classes. So we've had a lot of participants go through the program that who don't actually teach online, but they're starting to move into that realm, and a lot of them are doing that by integrating some of these practices in their face-to-face or starting to teach a hybrid course. And then also, of course, the extrinsic value is, they want to be more marketable, have the use it for career advancement. Also, though, they really were interested in setting themselves apart in the job search. And we all know, especially in today's market, it's a tough fight for those positions. So having anything that sets you apart from your competitors is an advantage, and this certification can do that for you. So what I'm going to do now is explain a little bit about how the program operates. So there's actually two phases to the certification program. The first one is the coursework phase. The second one is the actual teaching practicum. And you'll see here that there is a link on the top right of your screen that is for the general certification information, and Marty will put that in the chat window for you guys. But this is a website that's, again, at onefortraining.org, and you can get all of the information that I'm giving you today is available there, and there's a bunch of additional resources. So if you still have questions after this and we don't get them quite answered, please make sure that you go there and check them out. And of course, my contact information is there as well. All right, so the first phase, again, is our coursework phase. And when we looked at this program, when we were designing the program, we realized we really need to start off and make sure that everybody has a really good foundation for teaching online. So we require everybody who's part of the certification program to take the Introduction to Online Teaching and Learning course first. In this course, you not only learn about, the online pedagogy, especially focused on student-centered learning, but you also learn a little bit about course design, setting up the structure, what areas are very important to making your online classes run smoothly. You talk about new copyright laws and the issues there, especially with online delivery. And you learn a little bit about some specific online learning tools. So again, this is kind of the introduction to a lot of the different areas where you're going to have more refined courses later. But a lot of the course focuses again on that structure of developing your online course.
Let me add something as well. I think one of the things that we're noticing in this class is it really helps the faculty member who's new to online teaching and learning to help them kind of demystify the experience because they operate as an online student in the class. So what they realize quickly is, the interest and need in having a social participatory interaction where you're working with others, and it's not just consuming information or content there, but you're actually working with others and you're coming back to discuss with others online. You're also seeing, as the instructor models the different effective practices that we model throughout the entire program, you're starting to see as a student why those would be valuable. And then, therefore, find ways yourself of making sure you have it as part of your content delivery for your students when you start to go online. So it's really nice to be able to operate as an online student to get that experience and really then when you're designing your course, know what your students might be looking for.
Yeah. And that's one of the things in the INAQL standards, one of the standards that we technically don't assess throughout the course is that you have participated as an online student. Obviously, by taking these courses online, you're fulfilling that area of the standard. And it's a very important part. It was one of the things that we looked for when we looked for standards for this program, is to make sure that that was integrated into those standards. And the INAQL standard has that as one of the criteria. The other thing in this Introduction to Online Teaching and Learning course is that you'll actually be given access to Mahara, which is an e-portfolio program. And you'll be creating an online learning unit in that e-portfolio program, again, as part of this course. This is especially important because as you go through the courses, which I'll explain to you in a moment, you're going to be developing different artifacts, what we call artifacts, which are examples of the different standards that you'll be having to demonstrate at the end in your practicum. By giving you access to this Mahara e-portfolio up front in the very first course, you have a repository area to put all of these artifacts that you develop throughout the program. So that ideally when you get to the practicum phase of the program, you will already have the majority of your content developed. And I'll explain a little bit more about that when we get to the practicum phase. But I just want to remind you guys that you do get access to this Mahara portfolio at the very beginning first class that you take. So once you've completed the Introduction to Online Teaching and Learning, there's 4 other courses that you're required to complete. The first one of these is a CMS training, which is your course management system. And you can take either the Introduction to Teaching with Moodle or the Introduction to Teaching with Blackboard. Either one is fine. If your institution uses a different course management system, you can contact me directly, and we can determine if there's some other training that you've completed that can exempt you from the CMS training portion.
In most cases, we'd need a kind of like a letter or an email from your professional development coordinator or your learning management coordinator, D coordinator, showing basically that you've completed a training on your course management system of your college at some degree. So like if you're an Etudes institution, obviously you have to go through the Etudes certification class, and that proof right there would make you eligible for marking it off on our program. If you use a different program, if you're taking that training at a local provider, for example, if you don't take our Moodle class, but you've taken a Moodle class, through one of your hosted providers, you can provide the certificate that came from there. If you're getting training from your local college, that's where we need the letter or something from a PD person or a DE coordinator.
And if you have any questions about that, again, you can contact me directly, and I'll work with you to make sure that we not only get what is required for us on our end to make sure that you've completed that training, but that you also understand the items that you would have completed, the artifacts that you would have completed in our courses that will be required to be in your e-portfolio. The remaining classes, you have the Creating Accessible Online Courses, which, again, by the title, just tells you about making sure that you're meeting all of the accessibility requirements for captioning and video, audio, anything that's going to require some sort of additional accommodation. Thank you. Couldn't remember that word. Accommodation. So that course is going to go through all of those different requirements. And again, the focus is on the California Community College system, so those are a lot of the standards that are going to be delivered in that course. Then you have the Building Online Community with Social Media. We've really stressed and emphasized the power of social learning. And so this course is going to show you different tools that you can use and provide you with different scenarios that you can include in your online courses to help develop and build that community. And then you have the designing effective online assessments, which we'll talk about different ways that you can assess students in your courses. Also, working with learning objectives.
Focus on traditional testing as well as non-traditional performance-based, authentic assessment. Different options, basically, that how you can assess in an online environment to ensure that you're getting both formative and summative, responses and seeing performance done.
Right. And obviously, assessments is one of the big concerns anytime you're delivering a course online. So we wanted to make sure that we provided you with a full course that really met those needs and gave you a real security about providing assessments online. So those are the 5 courses that you're required to take. And just in general, a little bit about these, a little overview of the courses. Each course is 4 weeks long, and they all involve approximately 10 hours of week of work. 10 hours of work each week, excuse me. Of course, some may require a little bit more, some a little bit less, but 10 hours is about the approximation. So we recommend that you take one course at a time, because especially if you're working, because as we know, teaching is not a strictly 8 to 5 job and then you go home and do something else, right? So, of course, if you are on a sabbatical or you're not teaching for a semester and you want to maybe take 2 classes, again, it's up to you, whatever schedule is appropriate for you, but you want to remember that you are going to need to devote about 10 hours per course a week. And all of the courses are offered 3 times a year, once in the fall, spring, and the summer. And all of these courses are delivered in Moodle, except for our Introduction to Blackboard course. So if you're not familiar with that learning management system, you will be by the end of your courses without one. And then obviously, lastly, is very important, don't forget, if you're a certification candidate, you get priority registration for all of these courses. So you get access to register 2 weeks prior to the general population of people who are interested in participating. And I think there's over, we probably have...
Oh yeah, over 10,000 people in our registration system. So certification candidates will get, a 2-week advantage for registering in those courses. So definitely a benefit being in the program to get that.
Yeah, and the courses fill up fast too, so there's definitely a high demand. So having that little bit of priority registration is helpful. So before I move on to the next phase of the certification program, I got a quick question for you, I think. Oh, I got one more thing. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier about having to build an e-portfolio in the actual practicum phase. So before you get to the practicum, you can be building out your e-portfolio in Mahara or in Google Sites if you're comfortable with that, or any other kind of web site if you have those skills. If you use Dreamweaver and you have a place to host that site, whatever. Any place that can be accessible via the web. So as you're going through each one of these courses, we've developed these artifact guides for you. And they are, again, specific items that you will be creating in these courses that you can then use to demonstrate your proficiency of the standards when you get to the practicum phase. So you can see on your screen here there's a link to the portfolio information at onefortraining.org/portfolio. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a blue box, and in that box there's a link that says Artifact Guides. And there'll be, again, one for each course, and you can go there and check those out. I highly recommend, if you become part of the certification program, that you print out all of these guides and have them readily available to you while you're taking the courses to make sure that you're actually developing these artifacts along the way, so you don't have to go back and try and develop these at the very end during your portfolio.
And I'll add quickly that what's really valuable, and I hope that if you guys go through this program that you would consider this, is these artifact guides give you some ideas as to how you could demonstrate these proficiencies, and it gives you some different opportunities to showcase that. Right away, you should be thinking, as you're going through the program, how you could use these different artifacts specifically for implementation or incorporation in your existing course. And the reason why we say that is because when you are working on something that is going to make an impact and value immediately, rather than just doing it for the program, we see a lot more efforts and passion towards creating at that point. And then the other part of that is, as Anna pointed out, if you start creating these artifacts while you're taking the course, rather than waiting until you get to the practicum, all that information that while you're going through the course and content and discussion and learning and reflection is going to be in your mind, and it's going to be retained much better at that moment because it's fresh. And so that's the best time to start developing out. And then when you're ready to go in the practicum series, then what you'll be able to do is really just refine those artifacts or add additional ones to help demonstrate the competency. So that's very important as well. You're going to move on to the next one.
And I just want to add to that also, again, as Michael said, these are just suggestions. There's, of course, additional things that you can create and develop that will demonstrate your proficiency, or things that you may already be doing in your courses, and you may not need to develop something additional. So again, these are just guides that will help you along the way. And of course, if you have any questions about any of the items on here, you can always contact me and we can go through that.
Okay. We had a question that said, is the certification, is it possible to transfer it to other states? And Marty was nice enough to answer and say that there's no actual transfer agreement set up with any other states. However, what's great, to answer your question, is the fact that you are delivering or creating this portfolio that showcases your knowledge, skills, and abilities. In truth, your portfolio also operates as your certification. So if you were to go to another state and go to a prospective employer, and they were going to ask you, well, how do we know you're a good online instructor? Rather than showing them a little certificate with a seal, you could actually showcase to them through your portfolio, which you take with you, the actual content and artifacts and knowledge and reflections and skills and abilities on that document and let it speak for itself, rather than them having to go and see whether or not a certification transfers. Instead, they get to see your product right there. And obviously that's nice, because what ends up happening is if you go into a prospective employer's committee, usually is what takes place when you're getting hired, you're not only going to have people from those different departments like HR and whatnot, but you're also going to have people that are focused in your discipline. So they're going to want to know if you not only understand online teaching, but that you understand online teaching in your discipline, and you'll be able to showcase that with your portfolio. So it's a great question, and that's why we stand by the portfolio, because we believe that really is the power behind the program.
All right, so let's see if you were paying attention. In a certification program, like you said, you have to complete 5 courses. What course do you need to complete first? So your options are A, creating accessible online courses, B, building an online community with social media, C, introduction to online teaching and learning, or D, introduction to teaching with Moodle.
And you can use those polling options again to the side. It looks like, we'll give you a couple seconds, it looks like everybody's been paying attention. You all understand that the correct answer is C, Introduction to Online Teaching and Learning. Now, it's either that you guys are paying attention or you're using the normal objective-based testing strategy that, when in doubt, always answer C. So we'll know for sure once you take the program and you go through the process. Thanks for playing.
All right, so now once you've completed all of your certification courses, the next step is the teaching practicum, which we've alluded to multiple times throughout the conversation. And for us, we really believe that this is one of the things about our certification program that really sets us apart and makes our program unique. And in this, your whole goal of the whole program and the teaching practicum is to develop and share an e-portfolio that demonstrates your proficiency in the INAQUL standards. And you're going to do this by providing not only the specific artifacts that we've told you should be creating in the guides and recommended, and then different things that you're going to be creating on your own, but you're also going to be sharing personal reflections. And we feel that this part is definitely one of the most important aspects of the entire program. So not only are you going to show us an item and say, this item demonstrates my proficiency in the standard, you're going to tell us why and explain to us the benefits of that standard along with how the artifact, again, demonstrates your skills in that, your knowledge about it, and why it's beneficial overall. So including these reflections is going to be extremely important, and that's why we're really key on that you set it up as a portfolio. In previous practicums, if any of you guys know candidates who've gone for the practicums, we've had an option to provide your practicum in an online course, and we've just found that that delivery is not demonstrated the portfolio the way that we really like to see it, and that candidates are having a kind of a difficult time really providing that reflection in that environment.
And to say, there have been candidates that have been able to do that. There have been candidates that have been able to establish the reflections within their course, in their course management system. And it's not that it's impossible. The big thing is, though, however, is this is a portfolio that you should be able to, it should be portable, really. It should be portable. It should be something that you're able to share on the fly with not necessarily even needing to authenticate people into it. I mean, it might be necessary to have, login credentials, things like that, but the real value is the ability to be able to showcase it so easily. And so, yes, the reflections are a very, very important part of that, as Anna pointed out. We don't want you to think of it as like the writing component of this program, because that's not what it is. Really what it is this is your practicum. This portfolio should be able to, if you weren't with them, speak with your prospective employer or prospective student for that matter, it should be able to speak for itself. And that might be through text reflections, like you're writing the reflections. It might be through video, screencast reflections, like you're in the front of a webcam sharing and talking about it. It might be a screen recording of your course and you're talking over it, those type of things. But basically the idea is that it's not enough to just share with us, oh, this is an assignment I did in one of my classes, and this assignment meets one of your standards. Instead, it should be the reason why I created this product for this artifact for the portfolio is that it does meet this standard by emphasizing, student-to-student interaction, and it shows that I model and guide and foster community building in the class. And here are the reasons why I do that. And here are the reasons that the artifact shows that and demonstrates that. So that's the important thing, is because when we go through the review process of your portfolio, it needs to speak for itself. You're not going to be able to be there live to defend it. Instead, you need to make it so that the portfolio speaks for itself and should be able to meet those needs. So that's why it's so valuable.
So the teaching practicum is a 12-week semi-structured schedule. What I mean semi-structured is that we have milestones where you'll be completing different, like you're going to be completing your CCC Convert training, you'll go attend an orientation, you'll meet with your mentor, which I'll explain in a moment. And so we have a date range because we know that everybody works at a little bit different pace, so we want to be accommodating to that, but we also need to make sure that we have some definition to when you start and complete this section of the program. So this just right here gives you a general overview of the schedule and the structure. And again, once you sign up for the certification, you'll receive some additional resources, and you'll see this image again when you actually attend the orientation of the practicum. So you don't have to worry about it right now, but just know that this is the kind of semi-structured schedule that we have. You also see there's a resource here in the upper right-hand corner, onefortraining.org/certification/practicum. That will take you to the general information for the practicum phase of the certification program. So during the practicum, you'll be assigned a mentor. You see on the right-hand side here some pictures of some of our previous lovely mentors. These are all experienced online instructors or administrators involved in distance education. Many of them are certification program graduates, so they understand the process. They know what you're going through. They had to build all of these artifacts, build an e-portfolio, all of that stuff, so they can help you along the process. And that's really what they're there for. Again, they're there to mentor you. They're not there to be your teachers and reteach you how to create anything. They're just there to go over your e-portfolio, your artifacts, and provide you some feedback about whether or not you're meeting all of the standards. So once you meet with your mentor and go over your portfolio, then you will have a period of time where you can put any final touches on it that you need, and then you'll schedule your final portfolio evaluation. Your final evaluation will be done by your mentor. They will review it to see that you have taken into consideration the suggestions that they've made, and then it will be reviewed by either an @1 director or advisor to, again, verify that you've met all the standards and that your portfolio demonstrates that. And then again, like I said, you will have to complete the CCC Confer live training, and all that information will be provided to you when you actually register for the practical. All right, so real quick, I just wanted to show you guys a couple examples of what sample e-portfolios look like. The first one I'm going to show you is in using Mahara, again, which you're provided access to in the Introduction to Online Teaching and Learning course. And you'll see that if you look in the orange part of the pictures on the left-hand side, there's some tabs, and they're kind of hard to read in here, but she has set this up where she actually took each course that she participated in throughout the certification program and then created a page for each one of those courses. And on that page, she had examples, artifacts, links to videos, assignments, documents, which you can all kind of see examples here. But another really cool thing that she did is she had on the right-hand side a section where she listed each of the standards that she met with that course, or the artifacts or examples that were provided on that page. So that's just one example of how you could set up an e-portfolio.
So what's really nice about that she shared what standards are met, is the review process obviously makes it much easier, but to be honest with you, as you share this portfolio with prospective employers, prospective students, it lets them see how you've met those standards, and it's easily outlined for them, so it's really nice setup.
And then this is an example of an e-portfolio that was set up using Google Sites. And you can see she did a really cool image on the front page here where she had all the different standards around the center, which I don't know if you can see that, in different colors. And if you actually clicked on one of those letters there, it went to a page where she had an overview of the standard C. And you can see that she embedded some YouTube videos that she created that demonstrated throughout her actual courses where she was applying these different, or how she had different things applied to the standards. She also then had a separate area where she had attached specific artifacts for that standard. And one of the, I clicked on one of the examples here, was a welcome letter. So you can see again, just different layouts, same information is being provided. And again, both of these portfolios, you wouldn't have to be in the room with these people to see that they both clearly understood the standards and could provide examples to clearly demonstrate their proficiency in those standards. So that's exactly what you're going to be doing when you get to this phase of the certification program.
And I just wanted to share, Kim had a question that said, and this was for the portfolio from Mahara, and the candidate used a page or tab for each one of the courses, and that is correct. That was one style, and then this style obviously is focused on the different standards and then shared the artifacts. So what's important about this is what? It's that the portfolio is unique to you.
Absolutely.
We don't want you to feel like it's a boilerplate product that you're going to deliver and then it's going to be very much the same as somebody else's. In truth, this is your opportunity to not only share these artifacts, but also inject your creativity, your style, your format and really deliver who you are in this portfolio along with that. So, and as somebody pointed out as well, Celine pointed out that Google is free. The Google site is for free, and they are great examples. Kim also asked, is Mahara for free? And it is. It's made available through @ONE. So @ONE provides the Mahara environment for you, and you will be using it directly in your course, starting with the Introduction to Online Teaching and Learning class. There will be assignments that the teacher will actually ask you to create the assignment and then actually port it or produce it over into the Mahara environment. But in the end, what we wanted to do was make sure that we gave options, because some people, while they did use the Mahara environment, they decided, well, you know, I think I'm more comfortable with Google, so I will allow that. We allow that as well. And so we just want it to be that it's your comfort level, what you feel comfortable with, you can feel free to do. If you're, you know, a web author and you know Dreamweaver and you think you could do something very similar, go for it.
And again, like Micah said, it's very important that you understand, again, there's no boilerplate template. We're not going to roll out something in Mahara or in Google Sites to you and say, okay, fill this in. It's a development process, and part of building that portfolio, you know, demonstrates your proficiencies again. All right, so really quick, you know, the big question, what it always comes down to is money. How much does it cost? Again, @ONE is dedicated to providing quality instruction at a low cost. So if you're a part of a California public educational institution, each course of the 5 courses you're going to have to take, those are $55 per course. And then your teaching practicum is going to be $225. So your full price for the entire certification program is $500.
And then, of course, if you're not in California, but you are in an educational institution, it's a little bit more. But, you know, you could take a look at this, and this pricing structure is also on the website.
All right. So, once again, just want to remind you guys, enrolling in the program is completely free. You can enroll just by going to onefortraining.org/certification and clicking on that enroll button in the top right-hand corner. And again, you're going to get priority registration once you become part of the certification program. All right, so again, really quick option. What's your enrollment status? A, are you already enrolled in the program? B, are you enrolling today because heck, it's free? Or C, are you just thinking about it? You're not quite sure yet.
Pretty even distribution. It looks like, you know, we have some that are already in the program, and hopefully this will excite you to follow all the way through and get it done. And we'd love to see you in the practicum portion. For those of you that chose that you're enrolling today because it's free, we're excited to have you on board and look forward to seeing you in a future class. And for those of you that are considering, still thinking about it, you know, you can always contact Anna. The information is right on the website. She'll be glad to answer any questions you have. And if you want any more information about, you know, different program things, or even want to be put in touch with another candidate or student, we'd be glad to help you out in that regard. Okay?
Absolutely. All right. So last slide real quick here. I just want to let you guys know all of the resources that I've talked to you about today are available on this slide. Marty has made available at the beginning of the presentation in the chat window a link to the PowerPoint slides, so you can go ahead and get those, and you can go directly to this resource page and again go to all of these links for all of the information that we've talked about today.
It'll also the whole PowerPoint will be available to you on the @ONE website, and you'll be receiving an email in 48 hours with a link to the recorded archive of this presentation as well as the downloadable PowerPoint.
Absolutely. And Marty, again, just posted all of those links in the chat window for you guys.
So we've been answering some questions already through the chat window and as you guys were sharing it, but if you do have more questions, we'll be glad to answer those. Feel free to type them into the window, or if you're not online, feel free to unmute yourself and come online. I did see a question that I wanted to make sure we answered. I think Marty answered it to a degree. Sylvia asked, is Mahara free? If it's not through @ONE, what if I want to use it on my own? And Marty shared with you that it is free through us and it's available to you through us. However, if you do want to use it on your own, you are able to set up, I believe Mahara is open source, which means if you wanted to install it on your own kind of web server, you could do that. If you wanted to find a solution provider that provides access to free Mahara, I know there is one that exists. I apologize, I cannot remember the name of it. However, what I'll do is I will try to find that resource, and I will post it into either, you know what I'm going to ask you to do? If you want to know what that link is, I'm going to ask you to email Anna, and we'll get it to Anna. So her email is the certification, and I'm typing this into the chat window right now, training.org.
And again, if you have any follow-up questions to the presentation, again, please feel free to contact me, and I will, give you links to information, give you all the information I can, all that good stuff.
And then a question from Ginny is our material protected? And so that's a great question, Ginny. What we want to share with you is when you enroll in the program, there's like an intellectual property kind of statement there that basically says that the material and information that you put up on a portfolio obviously is only going to be used when you deliver it to people or when it's delivered by us. Now, as you can see, we were sharing a couple samples of portfolios in this presentation, and that is one of the things in that statement is that we will use it for potential marketing and promotional activities focused on this certification, but nothing more. It's your prerogative as to how you want to set it up for privacy purposes. So like on Google Sites, you could set up privacy so that only people that you provide the link to can see it. On Mahara, you could set up like roles, and so you can give roles permissions. And so if somebody gets that particular role, they can come in and see it, or you can provide guest access. So it really depends on how you set up the privacy for that. And then lastly, we'd just like to say, if you still have questions, you can feel free to type it in. We'll stick around. But do fill out the survey for us. We do take this information that you share in this survey. It's very important to us. We use that information to better our webinar program that Marty has put together and is so greatly established and done. So, but we do take this information, and we want to make sure that we're providing you the best service possible. So do take about 2 to 3 minutes to do that if you could. If there are any other questions, feel free to type them in. Otherwise, I would say please have a great day. Thanks for attending again. And if you want to know more about the @ONE project or any other resources and training services that we provide, visit us at our website. That's onefortraining.org, ONEFOR, training.org. Thanks again, everybody.